Hello, Africa. My name is Eunice Tony, and this is eTVGhana's African Women's Voices Show. It is a show that tackles issues pertaining to women as we contribute to national development. Look, I have missed you guys a lot, and it felt like 1 week will never come, but today, here we are. And today's show promises to be very, very exciting, and we're going to be educating you as well in the conversation. So whatever it is you're doing, please draw closer to your TV set because we've got something really nice brewing and cooking just for you. But before I go ahead with the show, I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors who have made it possible for us to be broadcasting to you today. And first on the list, as usual, is Voltic, Voltic, Voltic. Do not say water, say Voltic. So whenever you feel like you need to hydrate yourself, you need to take Voltic to get that hydration that you need. And the good thing about Voltic is that it is environmentally very, very, very friendly. So they have produced their bottles in such a way that you can degrade it. So whenever you get your Voltic next time, you just, when you buy it, after drinking, you just twist it and then you send it to the nearest point where you could just drop it. We've got vantage points where we collect used Voltic bottles because we do not want people littering the environment with Voltic and then with any other plastic. So whenever you take your Voltic, remember that Voltic has a message for you naturally. It should be something that comes to you naturally whenever you want to take water. So I'll Be Bite Catering Services is also one of our very trusted sponsors. She's good with local and continental dishes. She's also good when it comes to pastries, and she's really adding a lot of style to her cooking. She has made it very possible for a lot of corporate women to take some rest. So let's take, for instance, you're a corporate woman and you have got to make various soups and stews and put in your freezer for the home. She's saying to you today that with just a very small amount of money, she's going to do a tailor-made cooking for you. So if you do not like certain ingredients in your food, just let her know, I don't want A, B, C, and she's going to get you sorted. So, I mean, if you get tasty cooking, you know, from I'll Be Bite for your home, it's something that really is going to take off pressure from you sometimes. And for some people too, they need to cook for, you know, special need patients and you don't really have the time or you don't have somebody to help you out. I'll Be Bite is stepping in to help you do that. If you want to do Hausa cocoa, whatever kind of, you know, porridge you want to prepare, she can prepare the condo for you and put it in portions for you so that it's easy for you to serve your home. What else would you be expecting from somebody who really cares about your refreshment and about your healthy eating? Next time when you think about refreshment or eating, think about I'll Be Bite Catering Services. She is on Instagram and you'll find her there, you know, with all her assorted services. We also have someone who has really made me look good today. I want to believe that you're enjoying my look. As we celebrate Made in Ghana month here in GMABC, I have been styled beautifully by Second Image. Second Image has styled my hair, but the hair was actually provided by Awu's hair. So if you want original hair, go to Awu, she'll give you original hair. And then Second Image will style you up to look very, very beautiful as I am right now. We also have Sankofa spices. Sankofa spices. This is one spices made in Ghana that has got no preservatives nor salt. Sometimes when you want to cook, you begin to think, okay, how much salt do I need to add to the food because, you know, I'm having to add spices to it. With Sankofa, you do not need to shed this kind of fear. You just know that you add your spices and it will give you a natural feel and a natural taste. So if you have not tried Sankofa, do try Sankofa for your stew, for your soups, for your stews, and for anything that you feel you need to add spices to. And if you are a vendor, we are saying to you today, move those other ones to the side and display Sankofa. Look, you are going to get a lot of customers because it's selling really, really, really fast. And in this month of Made in Ghana here in GMABC, we have a message for you. We are saying that we are celebrating our rich culture on all GMABC fronts. Join GMABC, educate, entertain, and inform you about many things you had no idea about. GMABC Made in Ghana month will take you to Twobodom, Salaga, Oblojo, Asanteman, Kade, Keta, and many more exciting places in the 16 regions of the country. Get ready to know more about music and dance from our Ghanaian roots and find inspiration in our Ghanaian businesses. Be prepared to roll your tongue to learn a variety of languages and lifestyle of the Ghanaian people. If it is culture, our Ghanaian culture should be first. For enquiries and sponsorship, call or WhatsApp 020-2222-095 or 0244-942378. GMABC Made in Ghana Month, celebrating Ghana through digital innovations. So right after now, we are going to be going over to the 60 seconds update segment where we get to tell you what's happening in the world of women across Africa and in Ghana. So do stay tuned.
Mrs. Elizabeth Saki, the Deputy Greater Accra Regional Minister, on Tuesday called on women to dedicate themselves as ambassadors of cleanliness to have a positive impact on the environment and transform the nation. Mrs. Saki made the call at the 9th anniversary celebration of the Spirit, Soul and Body Workshop, a non-governmental organization in Accra that creates a platform for motivational speakers to inspire others and help them identify their potentials. She said, just as women love to look neat whenever they want to go out, the same way they can make a positive impact on the nation if they become concerned about the environment and its cleanliness. Ms. Josephine Cromer, chairperson for the National Commission for Civic Education, on Tuesday urged the media to sustain conversations against corruption and environmental degradation. She said the way the media houses addressed issues as and when they come up would not help the fight against corruption and protection of the environment. Ms. Nkrumah at the Commission's 2020 Media Advocacy Workshop, Southern Zone in Accra, said the media should dedicate time to address such issues till set objectives of the nation's constitution are achieved. Miss Ghana Foundation, the charity wing of the Miss Ghana pageant, has donated 400 pieces of face masks to health workers at the Gawest Municipal Hospital at Amasaman. The gesture was part of the foundation's Widow's Mite to support frontline workers in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. Among other items donated were 80 packs of bottled water. The donation was also made possible by the kind support of Lydia Seram Al-Hassan, MP of Ayawaso West Wogon. After years of painfully watching on as her colleagues mounted the podium and collected trophies at the Vodafone Ghana Music Awards, gospel artist Celestine Donko had despaired of ever winning anything. However, this year, there was a certain buzz around her and some hope that this time turned into reality as she picked up 2 awards at the just-ended VGMAs. She said, "I am very excited about the support given to my brand all these years, and I want to assure everyone that there will be more and better work from me." Every year, South Africa marks Women's Month every August. In light of South Africa's high rate of gender-based violence cases, the President of South Africa on the 8th of September announced in his weekly letter that 3 key bills relating to gender-based violence have been introduced in Parliament.
And you're welcome back from that break. Chana Sheto is your #1 pepper sauce. So whenever you want to enjoy your meal with pepper sauce, we want you to think Chana Sheto. You can find Chana Sheto at Maxmart and many other places that you can, get them across the entire country. Look for them also on Instagram and get to understand various ways to use Chana Sheto that are very innovative and will really get you salivating anytime you have your food. So we are going to be going into the main conversation for the day. And for those of us who have been following on social media, we announced that the topic of discussion for today is around women in filmmaking. And we were asking a question whether it makes business sense to have women in film. And a lot of you sent in your comments, which I'm going to be reading in the course of the program. And apart from reading them, some of the questions you also pose are part of what we're going to be asking our guests for today. So I'm going to be calling on our guest right now. I introduce her to you. A lot of you know her because she's somebody who's on the screens already. And she's a producer, a director, and a content creator. Please join me as we make welcome to eTVGhana's African Women's Voices show, Ama ablode. Let the drum roll. Amma, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Eunice.
All right, so since we are in Made in Ghana month here in GMABC, I'm going to say Wezo. Oh, you see the swag? The swag with which you said the oh my God. Well, so how are you doing? Your dress looks really nice.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for having me here. And thank you, your viewers as well. Thank you for making time to watch this.
Oh, okay.
There's a friend of mine watching, Courage Jandu. Thank you for watching.
Oh, she's watching right now,
Yeah,
Carrie.
he's watching.
Okay, somebody just sent me a message saying Efonama.
Hey, my phone.
Okay. All right, that's beautiful. So, we are talking about filmmaking today, and we are looking at, women in filmmaking.
Okay.
But I think it would be best for us to be able to describe what filmmaking is to our audience, because sometimes what we think is filmmaking may actually not be
filmmaking. Yeah, I think most people have a fair idea of what filmmaking is. The problem is they narrow down what filmmaking really is.
Okay.
But in a very simple and layman term, I'll say filmmaking is a medium of capturing, documenting, and telling a story using a camera.
Okay.
That's in the layman's term. That's what filmmaking is about. But filmmaking generally is a team job. Sometimes you can do it alone, but most times for a high value production, you need a lot of people to come together. People forming the pre-production wing, the production wing, and the post-production wing. Yeah.
Okay, so that's filmmaking. So
that's filmmaking.
When we see TV commercials, is it filmmaking?
Yes, it's also under filmmaking. Everything that entails capturing, documenting, and telling a story using a camera involves filmmaking. Okay. So, for example, what we're doing here, what you're seeing on TV, it's also a form of filmmaking. This is just under TV production.
Oh, okay. So when
because you're still filming.
Yeah, we are filming anyway.
Editing it, or for TV, this is live, so you're switching it, and then they're putting it all together. There's a producer, there's probably a script writer, and all that coming together. It's the same as producing a film, a feature length drama or action. And usually people think filmmaking is about producing a drama film or series or feature-length film or short film. They think that's all filmmaking is about, but it's beyond that. It entails documentary, feature-length films, short films, shooting a TV commercial, even shooting an event. Generally, like I said, you're capturing, you're documenting, you're telling a story.
Okay.
Through the lens of a camera.
Okay, so usually the lead person when it comes to filmmaking is who? Who is the lead person? Maybe.
So the various departments, but on production from pre-production down to post-production, I'll say one of the people who's very key is the director, the film director. Okay. Because the film director is the one who brings the artistic expression of what you're trying to do. They're the ones in charge of it. So they're the ones to make sure that it all comes together well. In the camera department too, we have the director of photography who is in charge of how everything comes together in terms of audiovisual, in terms of camera. So the director of photography is in charge of the cameraman, the gaffer, that's lighting department, the types of cameras you're going to use, all the assistants in that department, the lenses, everything. That's what the director of photography will be in charge of. And then the producer, and the executive, the producer will be in charge of everybody else. Like, that's everybody's boss. Okay. Because the producer is the one bringing in the money being used to pay for the production. Okay. The producer is the one who is hiring, who's given the go-ahead for you to hire this actor, if you need an actor or actress for whatever you're shooting, and deciding on the sort of camera person or DOP to her, and even the director to her.
That's beautiful. So from the way you've described it right now, you even mentioned that when you're having an event, there's also an aspect of filming there, so it's also part of filmmaking. So if you go to the National Theatre, for instance, to watch a stage play, so where does filming come? When you're filming it, that's the filming?
Yes, when you're filming it, when you're using a camera to film it, to put it together through a camera, that is when it's filmmaking. Okay. But if it's a stage play, that's theatre. That's got nothing to do with filmmaking.
All right, so I had to actually get us to point that out clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, so since we are talking about women, let's take a look at what filmmaking has been like in the past.
Okay.
So women as content in the film is what we're looking at right now. What has been the positioning of women as content in the film in the past?
Okay, so this is in reference to women in front of the camera.
Yes.
So that's actors. So for most actresses, I would say that, filmmaking started as a form of documenting a way of life. And, just like somebody would write a book to put down history. So you are capturing what our way of life is like. So for most of filmmaking, it's been about, whilst telling stories, even fiction, mirrors what society really is. And that's what it's being on one hand. On the other hand, filmmaking is a tool to influence society.
Okay.
So if you want people to behave in a certain way, to think in a certain way, one of your best bets is to use film. So you want them to start acting haywire. You keep showing that on the screen. You keep making your content about that. And it works on their subconscious.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you start doing that. You start behaving that way. That's how much power filmmaking has.
Yeah, because we're all dressing the way we are right now is because we actually saw it somewhere.
Because we saw it somewhere. So let me use the Nigerian and Ghanaian film industry as an example. I think for most of us, especially millennials and probably the generation before me, the baby boomers, they would say that watching films from Ghana and Nigeria in the 90s down to the early 2000s, I think that's when there were more of Ghana and Nigerian collaborations. The role and the narratives of women in such films were, for younger women, was more of promiscuity.
Okay.
So you had the storytelling the narratives was more about young women going to university, having to date older rich men for money and to live the good life. They created the impression once you're a beautiful girl, when you step out, men just dole out money to you because you're beautiful. And then women were projected as witches a lot of the time.
We never had wizards.
No, like it was very rare to see a wizard. So women had to be a witch, or you had to be a mean mother-in-law.
Yes.
So it was, these were the repetitions. This kind of narratives were projected a lot. And for women who decided to be career women or ambitious, they suppressed their other lives. That's been the narratives. So they created the impression that a woman cannot have it all. Okay. If you win in the career front, you're going to lose in the home front. They never created the impression that you could have it all. And if you were a woman who decided to have standards according to the narratives in these films, it meant you're going to lose out on the good guys. The good guys usually being poor or lacking in one way or the other. And the ones who looked all flashy and well-to-do, they created the impression that such men are bad for women. So these narratives were repeated so many times. And I think that for whatever we think is a societal problem with the young women of today, maybe you should look back at the kind of films these young women watched growing up. Okay. You realize that you grew up thinking at a certain age, it's easy to make money just because you're a beautiful woman. That came from the films we watch as kids.
That's nice. We're going to be going for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. She talked about having to look at what kind of films that some women were actually acting in the past for you to be able to understand what's going on now. We're going to talk more about it when we return. Do stay tuned. And you're welcome back from that commercial break. So just before we went over to the commercial break segment, we were talking about appreciating how film was in the past to be able to understand how film is today. So I just wanted to find out from you, is there someone, who is a filmmaker of, the past that you would like to acknowledge?
Oh, yes. Women filmmakers, right?
Yes.
Okay, in Ghana, I'd say my very own mommy, Veronica Kwashinai, and Nana Hema Adra Window.
Okay.
Josephine Cromer is one person. I also like Leila Jansi. You see.
Beautiful.
And Juliet Asante.
Juliet
Yeah, these
Asante.
women have done amazing work in the Ghanaian film industry.
Yeah, I see Juliet Ibrahim there. I see Leila.
Yes.
Okay. That's Sherry Fimpong. Oh, that's beautiful. So Veronica Nai is somebody that, has stood in the test of time. And I also would like to really say thank you very much for all your contributions to filmmaking, Veronica Kwashi Nai. Thank you so much.
I think, just in case anybody is wondering who she is, if you were a 90s baby or 80s or 70s babies, I'm sure you know the movie A Stab in the Dark, the movie that showcased the beautiful talent, Pascaline Edwards. A Stab in the Dark, Ripples. Yeah, she's the director of that film.
And they were very, very good movies.
Yes, I mean,
very good movies.
I think she did a good job for the time in which such films were produced. She did a good job for a female filmmaker in Ghana.
Nice. And talking about some people that you mentioned Nana Hema Awindo.
Awindo.
Those of them who don't know her, she is the Greetings from Abroad
producer, presenter. Yes. She's one of the people who, like I said earlier, when it comes to filmmaking, most people think that filmmaking is all about making a movie. It's beyond a movie with actor and actresses. No, it's broader than that. So like she did, she went into the wing of TV production, where she produced a TV show, the very popular Greetings from Abroad. So that's also filmmaking.
Yeah,
really.
And she identified a need because sometimes people are cut off from their families abroad.
At that time, that was before social media and before the invention and popularity of mobile phones. So you couldn't easily reach people. When we had landlines, for the few families that had landlines, then means you have to be home to answer a call from a loved one abroad.
And a lot of times, I remember that people had to sit very close to their TV sets because they were wondering
if maybe Nana Hema Window was probably in a town where your loved one is and would see them by chance, and they have some sweet short message for you. So you have to stay tuned and watch.
Beautiful things that have been done through filming, and women identifying those needs and finding ways to actually bridge the gap.
Yeah.
So still talking about movies in the past, you mentioned Shirley Manso, and the movie that actually is really the talk of town, maybe in recent times, is The Perfect Picture. This is a movie she did 10 years ago. And then 10 years later, she did something. So let's take a look at how the movie actually looked like 10 years ago. I see Jackie Appiah looking very beautiful and slender. And Nashoko is there. Beautiful. So let's take a look at the production of this particular movie, in those times. Yeah. And then how production, how she transitioned into what it is that she's done, in recent times, 10 years later. Looking at it, I think I would say that she really did a good job in the second part of this movie, because if you look at the one she did 10 years earlier, 10 or 11 years earlier, we had some Western influences, sometimes from the soundtrack and even from the costumes. But 10, 11 years down the line, when the second one came, it looked like she was taking movie to a different level. She actually is using this as a tool for tourism. Because if you're somebody who hasn't visited Ghana before, the locations, fantastic. Looking at the costume, fantastic. The soundtracks, I mean, it was Ghanaian music from beginning to the end. And it's something that we need to really commend her about. We also looked out for sponsorship and support. 10 years ago, yes, I know that for other movies, she used to have, some kind of support. But when we looked out, in the trailer for the one she did earlier on 10 years ago, we didn't really see anything like that. But the number of sponsors she had for this particular one 10 years down the line was a lot. So meaning that there's something good happening in the film industry here in Ghana. And we want to say a very big thank you to Shirley for making us really feel proud, you know, about who we are and how we are talking about Ghana. Because you mentioned something that if people want to shape society, or if they want people to act in certain ways, they use film. And she's used this film to be able to communicate a lot of beautiful things about Ghana. And even when we search on YouTube, we realize that she has, you know, gotten subtitles now in Arabic language. She's gotten subtitles in Chinese language, meaning that she's exporting this movie beyond Africa. And she even introduced some Nigerians as well in the second part of the movie, meaning that she wanted the distribution to go that
to the
far.
Nigerian markets
Exactly.
as well.
So I think this really makes a lot of sense.
It does. And with Shirley, I am not surprised at the success of The Perfect Picture 10 years later. This is the sequel to the first one. I'm not surprised at all. You know, besides having a formal training in filmmaking from the National Film and Television Institute,
your alma mater.
Shirley, I think she's got a really good business acumen. She's coming from a broadcasting background as well, because she used to work at Radio Gold, and then she had an events company, used to produce Miss Ghana. So she moved from there. She did other things, like what I just listed, before going into filmmaking. And her first film being Life and Living It.
Okay.
Right from the first film, from Life and Living It to Perfect Picture 10 years later, there's been no disappointment that I can point at, honestly. She's just done amazing. I would be surprised if she dwindled with this one.
It doesn't,
because she's, even as far back as Life and Living It, she did an amazing job. So talk of now in 2020, where it's easier to get things done. She just had to do better.
That's beautiful. So now we are actually using this program to be able to motivate women who are interested in making films to know that, look, you just need to have the vision and you work towards it, because people have had the vision and they've really made it to come to life. But a lot of people keep asking the question, does it make business sense? Yes, she's making money, or I mean, she's doing well in this field, but is it something that is very easy for one to come in as a woman? And do you, I mean, do we have potentials for anyone else who is coming, who is not Shirley, even though we have other people? But if you are starting and you're not as famous as she is, so is it something that is really easy for women to transition into?
Okay, so to start with, I'd say when it comes to filmmaking, depending on how you want to enter. Earlier on, I told you filmmaking is in parts. We have the pre-production, the production, and post-production. So you need to determine how you want to enter.
Okay.
Do you want to come as a post-production person? That's be an editor, do motion graphics, special effects, or you want to be a screenwriter? I mean, you're the one writing, or coming up with a story and writing it into a screen form, how it's going to be on TV, or the director or the producer. So you decide your strength.
Okay.
I say strength because you really need to come with your brain power. It's a creative industry. It is a creative, as much as there's a science to it, it is really a creative industry. So you need to come in prepared to be creative. If you're not creative, well, you have to come business-minded and be the one marking the books, making sure this would sell.
So it has to do with how you want to enter.
How you want to enter.
Because even Shirley herself, I hardly see her in her movie.
Yeah, because she's not an actress.
So she understands.
She's a filmmaker, as in she is behind the scenes. She's the producer. She's a director. I know she's an editor as well. I don't know if she edited this recent film, but I know she can edit too. So she writes her scripts as well. So she does multiple roles. She can choose to do only one role or multiple, like she's doing. So you have to find your strength. If you're a good storyteller, then you need to know how to write for the screen. There's a difference. You might be good at writing a novel. Doesn't mean you can write for the screen.
For the screen.
That's why we call these people screenwriters and not just writer. You have to be a screenwriter. You need to know the rules of writing for the screen. And then if you need to come in as a film director, then you need to know how to direct a film. And directing a film is beyond saying action and cut. You need to know how to work with the other team members to come together and make sure you can artistically interpret what is on paper onto the screen.
So is that Veronica Kwashinai on the
yes,
screen right now?
Yes, she's the one. She's the one. I think she was on set. I'm not sure which film she was working on, but she's worked on a few productions in recent times. So I think it's
beautiful.
some TV series too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So I like the fact that you're saying that people need to start off with their strength.
Yes.
Because it happens that sometimes you find people moving into the space because they like it and they feel like, okay, I want to become popular immediately. And they feel that getting popular is when you are on the screen. Meanwhile, you can be popular still, even though you're working behind the screen.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, it's easier to be popular when you're in front of the camera because then there's a spotlight on you. So people can see you and identify you. But what, if you're behind the screen, your work could be popular and you wouldn't be popular. Nobody would know you.
Okay.
People will see you in time and pass by.
Not knowing that you are
Not
actually the person
who has been
writing all those beautiful movies.
Love.
Okay, now
Yeah.
I get the reason why some people want to be on screen. So you mentioned certain things about knowing how to write for certain, productions. If it's if it's TV, you should know
Know how
so
to
just
write
because
it.
you write novels doesn't mean that you know how to write for the screen.
Yeah.
So would you say that education plays a key role in filmmaking?
Yeah, like it does with everything else. For everything you want to do, you need to learn the rules of engagement in that field so that you can do it. And when you talk about education, I'm sure you don't mean the four walls of a school.
No.
But for wherever you can learn, just make sure whatever you are learning is correct. That's the most important thing. Make sure your source of information is correct.
Now there's a twist to it. Make sure what you're learning is correct. How would you know that what you're learning is correct?
There's a lot of information out there. And so, and I think it's very easy to be certain that this makes sense. Now, personally, what I do is that I believe when you're creating content, you need to see yourself as one of your audience.
Okay.
Do you like this? Will you pay for this content? Ask yourself.
You really need to tell yourself the truth.
Like, yeah, you need to.
A lot of times people are like, okay, yeah, I like it, but really they don't really like it. Because you need to
ask yourself, are you one of, put yourself in the shoes of your audience. Is this okay? The suspense, is it really working? If you're telling a story as a filmmaker, even if you're a documentary filmmaker, the subject that you're documenting, is it interesting enough? What is your method? How are you going about it? How are you spinning? And do your research work. And if you're going into the film industry as a camera person, well, you need to know how to operate the camera, how to light. You need to know all that and you need to learn beyond just camera operation. Because it's a teamwork, like I said earlier. So you need to know how to work with other people favorably. You need to be ready to take orders from your director. Because you can't say, no, I am this, I'll just do. No, the director, whilst on set, has a lot of power. So you have to respect that, be it male or female. You have to respect their role in there.
That's beautiful.
So education is important in it.
Okay, so that's to say that if you do not get your education in the four walls of a classroom, you are also able to understudy certain people. And as you work with them, you could learn on the job.
Yeah.
Because I've seen makeup artists turn out to be producers and directors, and they are doing so well.
Yeah.
I've seen them. So that's why we could say that like sometimes you don't need the four walls of a classroom.
Sometimes you don't need the four walls of a classroom, but you need to know. Like I said, filmmaking is both an art and a business. So though the person might be a makeup artist, you're probably, having worked on a few sets for a while, they have been able to build a network in the film industry. So they know how to sell a good script. They know how to book really good crew members to decide to work on their production. And also sometimes you don't have to be good in every area of filmmaking, but you just need to have the right people to work with. And then they will cover your flaws.
That's
you
beautiful.
Come up with an amazing work. At the end of the day, you could just be the one bankrolling the production, and that's fine. Let the creative people do their job, and you be the business person.
We'll go for another quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about the challenges people are facing, women particularly, in filmmaking. Do stay tuned. You're welcome back to the show. Okay, so I'm reading some messages here, and from Nana Ama Abokuma, she says, insightful information. From Ajuba Amwakwe, it says, Ama and Eunice, you look lovely in your African prints. And Ajuba also says, I am enjoying the program. Another person says, the film directors are not popular because your message is not coming out clearly. I hope it comes out better, but it just says the film directors are not popular because we would like to know the reason why the film directors are not popular according to your opinion. And once we get that, we are going to read it out for you, okay? So then we were talking about the challenges that women filmmakers are making, and we would like to talk about that. But just before we do talk about the challenges, let's actually acknowledge the fact that we've had some Ghanaian women also winning awards in recent times, and we would like to really say thumbs up to them. Just as you mentioned, we could use film, to, educate people, to shape society.
Yeah.
And we could also use film as a tool for tourism. So it makes business sense to get into filming. It makes business sense, okay? So if we can have the most recent award in the movie area that was just done recently, I'll really be happy to have our audience just share in that beautiful moment. A lot of us have enjoyed that moment anyway. That's one of the ones that we talked about recently. Perfect Picture. Gloria Sappho actually won an award in Nigeria, for being the best supporting actress. And I remember very well that some 10 years back too, we also had Amake Abebrese also winning an award for Sinking Sand that was written by a woman, Leila Jansi. So we've had women writing movies and, directing them, and then, having awards being won around them. Okay, I see it right now. Kate Henshaw is reading out the award. I think that's the one that announced Amake Abebrese about her being a winner. That's just it. So you could always look out for it and then be able to relive that moment again. Our phone lines are also open so that if you want to, say something to us about filmmaking, and if it makes business sense to you or you want to make a contribution, please call us out on the phone lines right now as it's showing on your screen, okay? The number is 0555 65 7278. 0555 65 7278. So, Amma, tell us, what are some of the challenges that women are facing in the movie industry?
Well, I believe, I said one, it's common with even non-women, but I think it's harder for women. Access to funding, because, like I said, filmmaking is both an art and a business, so you need to make an investment in it. Having access to funding, because generally in Ghana, film industry is having some really basic and common problems. Like distribution channels are almost non-existent.
Okay.
And access to funding, access to resources like studio spaces and maybe props sometimes can really be a problem.
A challenge for
and we are also facing an industry, we're also dealing with an industry where most of the people in front of the camera, that's the actors and actresses available that you want to have on board because of their bankability, because you want somebody who can bring in the viewers.
Yes.
You're looking for somebody who is talented and is really ready to put in the work. Unfortunately, it looks like, I'm not saying this on authority, but it looks like there's so many people who are just using it as a means to just achieve popularity, not because they're actually interested in the industry. So you have a problem with commitment issues from some of them.
Okay.
That's also another challenge you're dealing with. So for women, and I'll say another one is that it's really a male-dominated field.
Okay.
So if you happen to be a female director on set with a lot of men around, and some of them don't really know how to draw the lines, though you are sort of the boss, that can be a problem. And it can, it has a trickling effect on even your personal life sometimes.
Yeah, I can understand, because here is a case whereby in the past women were actually limited to makeup, costume, welfare and all of that, and today, so many years later,
we are taking the front row seat and all. But I think even that, I wouldn't really call it a problem if you're a woman who decides that, I don't care if they decide to call my assertiveness being brutish or mean or whatever. I think I'm assertive, so that's okay. That's good enough.
That's beautiful. All right, so Ernest has sent in his message properly, and I can see it. He says, film directors are not popular because they are behind the camera. The James Camerons, Steven Spielberg, Martin
Scorsese,
Wolfgang Peterson, etc. are popular than some actors. Equally, some artists have been on screens for years, yet they are not known. So
okay.
that's what Ernest is
saying.
saying.
So about that, about some actors not being known, that's why there's an informal tag called A-list, Z-list, stars. Depending on the number of films and how well those films have been, makes you an A-list star. And then you might have even been in 100 films, but you haven't really had a life-changing moment on screen yet. So you're still not that big star yet. So you're not an A-list star yet. Same way a director could have directed even only one film, but because it was big, it went on huge platforms. So he or she got to share in the spotlight with the stars when they were working on the red carpet. It does happen sometimes.
Oh, wow. It's been a very beautiful moment, with you. And I really feel like we should keep talking about filmmaking because, it's an area of interest. And I know that it's got a lot of potential.
It does.
But whenever we are finishing, our production, we always have things given to us by the sponsors to give to our guests.
Okay.
So we have something from Sankofa. Sankofa is going to be, giving you some packs of the Sankofa spices.
Okay.
Vortic is going to be giving you packs of the water. Chana Shito #1, pepper sauce in Ghana is also going to be giving us, or giving you, a pack of also the Chana Shito. And I'll be Bite Catering Services, the #1 caterer for eTV Ghana's African Women's Voices show, has also prepared a beautiful cake, and it says many thanks from AWV show. And those who have tasted Albi Bites cake have said it is really wonderful. It's so, so beautiful and nice. So as you go back, tell the story about filmmaking as you do, and also tell the story about the beautiful cake Albi Bite has, presented, and all the other items that Sankofa, Vortic, Chanachito have also presented. We want to say a very, very big thank you to you, okay?
Thank you for having me.
And we do hope that when we call you again, you will be coming back on the show.
I will. This was a really good reception. Thank you so much, too. My nieces are watching me, Fafa, Jemfua, Sally, Adam, Jackie. I'm sure they're thinking, Auntie, we need this cake home. So, girls, let's see if I'm able to get it to you in time, because I like cake, too.
Oh, my God.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is really surprising, but hey, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a wonderful time with you as we discussed filmmaking, in the midst of women. And we had a very interesting guest who is none other than Alma Ablode. She says she's going to return whenever we need her again. But I will be seeing you same time next week at 8 p.m. every Wednesday. The repeat broadcast will be shown to you on Saturday at 12 noon. Do stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our interesting lineup for you. Bye-bye.